But why does God gift us with so much grace? Because grace is what God does. Grace is where God lives. Grace is how God functions. Grace is present when we fail God. Grace is why we are still here. And grace is who God is. Everything that God demonstrates towards us is part of his gift of grace. The good, the bad, the ugly, the great and small, as Marvin Sapp sings. God's grace and love has and will always be the greatest gifts we will ever receive, because grace is the gift that keeps on giving. Once we accept the gift of grace, we are to unwrap the gift of grace and use it and not abuse it. How dare we treat God like a genie in a bottle? We haven't talked to God all year long. We see something that we want. We pull out our bottle, we rub it, and we wait for the genie, God, to grant us 3 wishes. It is wrong. How dare we treat God like a home cleaning service? We dirty up our lives in sin, and now we have messed up our temple all month long. And now we call on God to come in and do a deep cleaning and get our house and our lives back in order. And we don't talk to God again until we have dirtied up ourselves again and need him to do another deep cleaning. It is wrong. How dare we treat God like insurance? We come to church or watch church, watch church once a month to make sure we are current on our church attendance premium. We don't live for God, don't get involved in any church activities, don't pay our tithes, and then when a catastrophic event occurs, we are calling on the church nonstop for prayer and for nonstop help, just like we call the insurance companies when we are waiting for them to cut our checks. It is wrong. How dare we treat God like Batman? We don't consult with God in our daily decision making. We do what we want. We live how we want. And now we find ourselves in a sinful jam or sinful danger. So we shine the the God signal in the sky, and we sit and wait for God to come and rescue us, only to be right back in the same situation a few months down the road. It is wrong. And how dare we treat God like a side piece, a sneaky link, a sugar daddy, or a cougar. We don't come to church with God. We don't regularly communicate with God. We don't post about God's goodness on social media. We don't interact with God in public. We hide the affair that we're having with God. But when we get mad with our significant other, when we are lonely, when we need a shoulder to cry on, when we need some money or need help with something, we send God a text saying, WYD. What you doing? Trying to start fake conversations. You ask God for something. Talking about, I miss you, big head. I miss you. You don't miss God. You miss his blessings. You miss his favor. You miss what he could do for you. You miss how he makes you feel. It is wrong. God, he is not supposed to be our side piece. God is supposed to be our main piece. God is supposed to be the source of our strength. God is supposed to be the strength of our life. God is supposed to be our everlasting Father. He's supposed to be our Prince of Peace, and not just when we are lonely and in need of something, but all the time. My God. Ladies and gentlemen, God is not to be used. And if you want to know the real truth, we are the ones that are supposed to be used for the glory of God and not the other way around. If you are a believer and you have taken a very costly grace and made it cheap, dirty, and ugly, as myself has done in the past, turn your life around today. Stop living in and practicing sin and show your appreciation to God for giving you the gift of grace, a gift that you need whether you realize it or not. God's gift of grace is too amazing to be diluted by a life led by sin. Hear me, saints, grace does more than forgives us of our sins. It frees us from both the power and the penalty of sin. And it is our job to live like we believe it and to be grateful for his grace. Any grateful folks in the house today?